Hello and welcome to the ComiXpiracy episode 400. I just
407.
Wasn't even looking at it. 407 for the week of June 25th, 2019. My name is Ryan Higgins, who's here with me this week.
Brock Sager.
And Charlie.
And no preemptive and from the peanut gallery that is on here before Charlie. Charlie gets his full and.
I should just stretch it out one of these weeks.
So before we go on, we don't have a ton of topics this week. That's fine because we got a bunch of questions. But we have some big, juicy, meaty topics to talk about, though. So I'm sure we'll ramble on for a while. But before that, letting everyone know that for the first time in many years, I will be attending San Diego Comic-Con. This upcoming July, so a few weeks. Day after Mueller's subpoena report is the day I'll be heading out. Yeah, which is right before recording.
It was right before, yeah.
Right before recording. Can't wait. So, yeah, I'll be there. Myself, Toby, and Kevin Sharp. We're going to be there. Toby and Kevin, I think, maybe getting there a day early. I'm getting there Thursday.
Toby's getting there on Wednesday.
We'll be down there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for the convention. We are planning to do a meetup on Thursday night. So I'm coming in Thursday afternoon, so fingers crossed, no delays. Should be there early. We'll have more info closer. Keep an eye on my social media accounts at Ryan Higgins Ryan or on the Facebook group. And as we get closer, we'll have more info. If you're going to be going to Comic-Con, love to have you come by, say hello. Friends if we've met, friends if we haven't met. Swing by. We're just going to hang out. It's one of the hotel bars. Near the convention center and just have some food and drinks and chill. So very, very, we're not renting out a thing. It's very casual. But
so you're going out in public.
Part of going to Comic-Con is going out in public. Yes, unfortunately Comic-Con doesn't take place in my bedroom where I can just not talk to people.
Phone it in.
Yeah. And it's weird too because I haven't been to con in years, and I don't even know if I'm going to get on the convention floor. I don't think I am. I'm getting in Thursday afternoon. So, I mean, maybe I'll have a little bit of time, like right before it closes, because it usually closes at like 6, right?
Yeah, I think it's later than that.
Well, I don't think I'm going to have maybe a little bit of time on Thursday, but I don't expect to do much. Thursday we'll have the party. Friday morning is Comics Pro meeting. Friday morning or afternoon is the retailer lunch. Friday afternoon and early evening is Ryan's bedtime. And Friday night is the Eisners, which we're going to the Eisners. So that should be fun. I gotta get my nap in, man. I can't con all day and then con all night. No way in hell. And none of this takes place in the convention. I mean, it's in the convention, but it's not like the floor of the con. Saturday, I've been told to keep my Saturday free. I don't know anything past that. And Sunday I fly home, so I have no idea what's going on. So there you go. I expect the Marvel panel is Saturday. Sorry, the MCU panel at Comic-Con. So the Hall H panel. So fingers crossed I can get into that. And that's not in the hall, one? Right? Huh?
Marvel?
Yeah. Marvel Studios is coming back to Comic-Con.
Oh, okay.
So they're going to be there, and I believe Saturday is going to be their panel. Now,
that's typically.
Yeah. Now DC's not. Okay. Now, Saturday, I believe DC in Ballroom 20, which is not the big hall, but one of the other rooms. That's like the second big one. They're doing the DC and CW TV panels like all day. So it's Batwoman, including the premiere, Arrow, Flash, Riverdale. Riverdale maybe Friday. But I know the DC stuff is like all day Saturday, and then the DC Universe.
Are they doing like a final iZombie one?
I don't think iZombie, and that'll probably be over by the time, because iZombie's almost done. They're nearing their final episode. It's coming up soon. So I've seen everything up to just this season. I just haven't watched any of the season yet. But they're going to have they're going to have a DC Universe panel as well at I think 6 o'clock on Saturday. So they may have some of the DC Universe people there, and I'm hoping they're going to announce more shows and tell people they're not shutting down.
Yeah, that would be my hope. That for me is like the main thing I want some reassurance that like the service is.
You don't have a panel at Comic-Con to announce, and we're closing next month.
No, but you could have a panel that just sort of promotes all the stuff we know is already in production and already coming.
Yeah. Hey,
Basically,
Young Justice.
And then right after the con is when they go, we're done.
And it's done. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I expect they will finish because, I mean, I'm trying to remember what month it launched, but the way they kind of structured it meant they need to at least put out new content through like a year and a half.
Well,
I would say at least.
I mean, the Stargirl show is
Yeah.
in production. That got pushed to early 2020.
Yeah.
They've started filming Titans season 2, so that's already.
Yeah, but I guess
Young
what I'm
Justice
saying is
soon.
I really want to see if they announce they greenlit something for after Titan season 2,
Yeah.
then I'm hopeful. If they just are promoting up through Titan season 2, then I'm a little worried.
Yeah, it's possible. We'll see. We'll see what they end up doing. But I am very hopeful. A lot of hope for the DC universe going forward. So I've been back on Doom Patrol, so I'm about halfway through. I'm almost done. So I'm like episode 8 or 9.
God, you need to finish it. It's so good.
I know, and then Swamp Thing. So I still want to watch Swamp Thing, even if hopefully the one season ends okay.
Yeah, I'm hoping it feels more mini-series-esque. Rather.
Yeah.
Like,
Have you watched? What are there 3 out so far?
there's 4. I've watched 3 of them.
Oh, okay.
But here's the way I kind of figure it. And Titan season 1, if that was just a mini-series, I would be ticked because of the way it ends.
Right, it ends on a
needs
cliffhanger.
the next season.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like if Doom Patrol just ended up being a 1 season and done,
Be all right.
I feel like it was...
No, it wouldn't be all right. The show's amazing. Give me another season.
The show's amazing. I hope
But
they do more. But
ends-
the story isn't left hanging.
The story doesn't leave you hanging. No,
Yeah.
but Doom Patrol and the cast that they
Yeah.
got, and
Oh,
all
I
that,
love-
like everything works in that
I
show.
love it so far. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just watched the one with Jane in the underground.
The underground. Yeah,
I
that one was
really
really
like
good.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really hoping Swamp Thing falls into the Doom Patrol category of just a really strong season that gives you closure.
Yeah. So we'll find out more as it gets closer. Again, we're going to be there, Comic-Con, so that's going to be a couple weeks. So feel free to hit us up and let me know. And again, check the Facebook group. We'll have some more
I'll go
info.
to Comic-Cons at some point in my life, hopefully. We'll see.
It's man, it's not cheap. Even Toby was looking for a hotel room.
Yeah.
I think he's be bouncing around between. We're gonna split a room, and then he's got like a room for another night. And Kevin got like an Airbnb, but it's a bit of a it's obviously it's an Uber away, but it's cheap, so you can find reasonable rates. But it's depending on what you're willing to stay.
Depending on what you're willing to do. I know I've stayed away from downtown a number of times when I've done the con. I very rarely stayed within walking distance, and all that basically means is if you're driving in, you have to get there really early because you're parking and not leaving.
Well, now it's
until
different.
the end of the day.
Yeah, now it's different. You don't do that. You just Uber in and Uber out. I mean, it's so much easier.
Even Ubering and that stuff, you're going to be stuck in the car forever.
Well, you don't get dropped off at the entrance to the hall. You're like, or you get entrance to the convention center. You get dropped off
6 blocks away.
Yeah, where my hotel is, and just walk.
My experience is the second you hit anywhere within downtown,
the whole Gaslight area. Yeah.
When the con is in full swing, you're better off getting dropped off like a mile or 2 away and just walking it.
Well, at that point, you're staying at a hotel that far. So,
yeah. But that being said, they do have like the public transit, like train rail sort of thing that goes right there, and like I've stayed at hotels close to that and just taken that in the morning.
Yeah.
And what I liked about that is if you get one close to that, it's a 10-minute trip there and back and that kind of thing. But
I'm staying.
You avoid traffic.
I'm staying right on the other side of the mall, so it's only about 6 blocks. So it's like 15-minute walk, so it's not bad at all. So Comic-Con, that should be fun. Very excited. We'll see if I even hit the con floor. Whatever. Worst case, go to the Eisners.
Well,
that's
apparently
cool
there's going to be a riot if we don't win the. That's what Toby said.
The official Eisner list for the Retailer Award goes up pretty soon. I mean, I know they asked for all our info, but I don't think they announced the top 5 till like the day or two before. So, happy to be nominated. No. unlikely to hit the top 5, let alone win. But, again, always nice to be nominated. But, hey, I get to go to the fucking Eisners. Awesome.
Yeah.
So we're going to move on. Before we get to our kind of one big, actual news topic for this week, we do have some news that affects the store of the podcast, you, our dear listener, and many people. So for a long time now, we actually dropped this at the very end of the podcast last week in the outro, but I wanted to kind of talk much more about it here as it's seemingly now pretty much done and official. A lot of people use our digital storefront at digital.comicsconspiracy.biz, and not too surprising, but unfortunately, that was going away at the end of August 27th to be exact. So ComiXology, the digital store, little history here. ComiXology was selling digital comics in late 2009, 20aughts, early 2010s.
Yeah.
What really got them to get big was when they finally were able to offer Marvel and DC day and date with the physical comics. And New 52, I believe, was for DC. I believe that was when they launched it.
Yeah, New 52 was pretty much for DC. For DC's.
Yeah.
They launched it with that. So in 2011 is when DC launched it.
Yeah, Marvel may have been right prior to that. So we were already getting set up because I was like, if Marvel's not on board, kind of what's the point? But with Marvel on board, suddenly it became a lot more obviously a much better service. And with the DC, now it's perfect. So as a retailer store, we were able to sell books through their service. It was like a branded storefront that we could promote and go through. And you're still running through ComiXology and buying through them and paying them and everything. But we would get a cut. Flash forward to a couple years later, and they were purchased by Amazon. So I assumed immediately, oh, well, that's it. It's over, right? They're just going to shut it down. And surprisingly enough, that didn't happen. But it does sound like I believe they have some big revamp of ComiXology coming up. And the digital storefront, unfortunately, very unfortunately for us, is something they are not going to keep doing. So they're closing out all those affiliate stores. Now, I mean, I think it's okay for me to talk about this. We're one of only a few stores that actively used it, but we used it a lot. We sold a lot of digital comics, thousands and thousands a month. It's not a small amount. I believe if you have a subscription to a digital comic through us, I don't see why that wouldn't continue. It'll just be part of ComiXology. You don't need to go to our storefront anymore, right? Everything just goes through ComiXology. So if you are a digital customer, I mean, we greatly appreciate all your patronage over the last, at this point, almost 10 years. And it really sucks it's going away. There's a nice little cut of money every month. So you still have a few months, and like I said, through August 27th. So they usually have a big sale around Comic-Con. They'll have a 4th of July sale, your weekly books. If you want to stock up on a ton of stuff before August 27th, that would be greatly appreciated, especially during their sales. People may have noticed, especially online, that I have kind of not been promoting it the last month or so.
I'm still linking on my blog post for my pull list every week, but I've started to not do graphic novels.
Well, yeah, and I just kind of wanted to sort of start to wean it out because we're going to not be doing it at all coming up soon. So that sucks. If you are a big fan of this podcast or our store and like to support and like to buy digital comics and help support the store, a kindly written word to support at ComiXology.com or their one of their sites, or at ComiXology and at, I think it's CMX support on Twitter. Let them know that you would like these back. They didn't say absolutely no, never, this can never happen again, we're burning our bridges forever, fuck off and die. That's not what they said. But they were like, it's highly unlikely. Well, highly unlikely things can happen when many customers request it. So, again, if I put up a thread on this a couple of weeks back, right when we got the email, and many people did reply to that. So, don't harass them, but
doesn't hurt to make your opinion heard.
Yeah, it might be worth an email.
So, I guess my viewpoint on this is very sort of direct. I liked being able to kind of go, okay, even if something's out of print that we talk about on the podcast, it was really nice to be able to just link to the store to be like, this is what we were talking about.
Right.
Obviously, there's plenty of stuff we reference on the podcast that is in print, and you could order through our actual digital store, just not digital copies of it. But it is, that for me is like the real annoyance and tragedy around this is I liked having that sort of catalog that we could reference back to that helps support the store and helps people find what we're talking about.
Well, we've talked a couple times over the last few weeks about the Legion news, the Superman and Legion of Superheroes arc by Jeff Johns and Gary Frank. And again,
it's available on ComiXology.
It is, right. I've pestered DC about this for a couple of years to get that back in print, and it's like it's baffling to me that they don't have it. But it is available on ComiXology. Yeah, I'd like to sell a nice hardcover for $30, but I'll take the handful of change I get from every time someone buys it through us.
The thing is, I mean, we were getting a decent amount every month from it, and if you just viewed a couple cents here and there from each transaction, I mean, we were selling a lot.
Well, yeah, and it was more than that in some cases. It's a percentage amount what we get. It depended on the company, depending on the title. But we got, I mean, again, not like what we make on the regular books, but at least in the case of DC, they had a much higher pay rate than every other company. They had basically double the pay rate of every other company, which is awesome.
Wow.
So I was yet another reason to support DC Comics. And we would sell a lot of DC stuff on there.
I think what's a shame is I remember when the ComiXology first started, and everyone was like, "Digital's going to be the way to go," or "It's not going to." Or some people were like, "Yeah, digital, it's going to kill print."
Yeah, and how'd that go?
And we're sitting there looking at like Nooks, going, "Yeah, the books are still coming out. Like novels are still coming out."
I mean, if anything, it just pushed more people to buy physical copies of stuff they really like. That's always what I've seen. And digital kind of, like I said, we talked about this every year, digital kind of capped out about 10% of the market, and it hasn't, I don't think it's really changed the last few years. We talked about end of the year numbers where they mentioned what like the current number is for digital, but I don't think it's much more than 10%.
Well, the thing is when you first signed up for it, I remember they blanket kind of sent out, hey, to all comic book stores, if you have a store or retail, did they go through Diamond, or if you have a Diamond account in your store, you can apply to have a digital storefront and all this stuff. And I know a couple stores that didn't take advantage of it. They were like, "Oh, they're competing against us."
Almost no store took advantage.
And that's the thing is like, why wouldn't you? Even if you had 3 customers that wanted to go pure digital, and you said, "Hey, you can buy your stuff through this storefront that's ours." Sure, they're like, I mean, we had a handful of guys transition over that did.
Yeah, we didn't really have anyone that went like full digital that I know of, right? But obviously people buy. Plenty of my regular customers who spend a good amount of money here also bought plenty of digital books. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for me, it was a question of I can get some money or no money.
Yeah.
The people aren't. It was very clear early on that digital was not going to be the way that everyone went digital. It just was never going to happen, right? So I was not too worried about that. I know in the retailer forum, God, I wish I could get ahead of these people and figure out what they're trying to think. A bunch of them were like, "I don't trust Amazon. Why would you want to give Amazon?"
Well, it wasn't even Amazon at the time.
Well, no, but now they're like, "Why would you want to give Amazon your customer info?" I'm like, Amazon already has every person on Earth's info. They already have our customer info because every single person uses the internet, and it can track and tell you what they're looking at, the sites they're looking at. If they're looking at a bunch of comic sites, their Amazon ads and pop-ups are going to show comic stuff. This is like it's such an old way of thinking. Like, oh, I can't give the competition the info of my customers. It's like, what are you, stupid? They already have it.
Well, the thing is you have an affiliate account with Amazon. Mm-hmm. And the thing is if they wanted to buy, like, let's say,
a shitload of stuff on Amazon, just like physical product.
But if, like, let's say they wanted to buy an actual graphic novel you stock in store on Amazon, if they go through your thing, you get a cut of that. If you were part of the affiliate program.
Like Amazon's traditional affiliate program. Yeah. That I have no need for because I just push people to our own storefront.
Yeah.
But but that's different to me. I don't need to do that because that is the physical same product. The ComiXology is not. ComiXology is a unique product that I cannot offer.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to take my percent. So this moves into another topic that is connected to this. So because of this, comicsconspiracy.biz, which has been our storefront obviously for many years, but now is a much bigger deal. I do not mean to turn this into like an ad for the store, but hey, it's something. So if you haven't been to the store in a long time or our website, because it used to just be like a blog of random crap, now it's actually a digital storefront where you can buy physical products. It's an online storefront.
Love the hub.
So we have
big update on Thursday.
Oh yes, a big update coming. And I thought the app update was this week.
No,
we are getting the test APK, but it's not.
The beta
but
stuff?
it is right around the corner.
Can I get a beta key?
We're getting the test.
Can I get it?
I think so. Because they need testers for we need to test it for like a week, and then hopefully it's out very soon. So very, very soon. But there's so all our physical product is on the website, right? Which includes our single issues and our graphic novels, toys, most of our toys and statues, the stuff that we have inventorized.
Stuff that we can scan and that it has its own barcode.
Yeah, like the Marvel Legends. We could put the Marvel Legends on. I might change that as we go down the road. But for the most part, some of those weird case assortment things we don't have. But I'm slowly updating images for our stickers and buttons and random crap. That said, there are two big parts of the store that are not on the website. And our hope is to change that. Is going to be a very long, involved process. Charlie, I got a job for you to do every day you work for the next decade.
Charlie, he's actually making you work. After 13 years, he's making you work.
Charlie does exactly my 12 days a year.
Charlie does exactly what I need him to do. So we are going to start very soon putting our used graphic novels and back issues on ComiXology.
Excuse me for a second. Excuse me for...
Yeah. On our storefront.
Let me stand up real quick.
This is going to be a massive undertaking, so please...
bear with us.
If you're looking for X-Men books... You might just want to email me or call the store because we're just going to start at A and just go. So it's going to take a little while, but we're going to get all this stuff up. So that's 50,000, 60,000 back issues that we're going to be putting online slowly over the course of the next God knows how long, right?
God, why do I feel the chances of me beating the living shit out of you for buying a collection?
And that also includes the used trade. So right now, if you go on our website, we have a sale page, which is at the very top, and it's basically like a big giant thing. But if you could search, right?
Yeah.
But if you just want to scroll through everything that's discounted, all our used graphic novels will end up there as well. So once we start processing those in the system, those will be on there roughly half off. So a lot of stuff going online. That you can pick up from us. And, with the digital storefront going away, I figure this is a good way to, sell some different books to maybe some of our digital customers. So keep looking out. And we'll post about it when I've really, when we're like, all right, cool, we've done all of Action Comics, and here we go. But starting, right? It's...
Uh-oh.
So I'm curious.
Yeah.
Are you going to do... print out separate barcodes for the back issue stuff? That way you can also give some level of... Or are you just not going to talk grading or anything like that at all?
Anything modern, if it's not near mint, it's not in the bin. If it's not, very fine VFNM, very fine near mint, right? Older stuff, we're probably going to have to put up actual pictures. I haven't decided if I'm going to do older stuff. It'll at least be everything modern, so 80s to current, right?
Yeah.
The older stuff is a question. That's another big step because that involves probably a cover of the front and back grading.
Yeah,
that's a bit more of a challenge. I can, but that's a bit more of a challenge.
That's a lot of work.
Well, so I'll explain it to you guys. And I'm explaining it to the people that are listening as well. Anything with a barcode is either in the system or easy to put in the system.
Yeah,
that's
I was just wondering.
because, I mean, obviously, if you do the barcode of the actual comic,
Yep.
it's not going to be linked to the specific item. Meaning, if you had 10 copies of this between back issue and restock and all that kind of stuff, they're all treated exactly the same.
Right, exactly. Anything without a barcode, so 80s and earlier, right, and some early 90s and earlier if it's the direct market stuff. We just have to create our own item and barcode for it. So, but it's update the images. A lot of stuff doesn't have images. Early comics, but it's just sort of make it, print the label, make it, print the label, make it, print. It'll go quick once we get into the routine of it. So, so look for that again next couple months. I'm kind of waiting on one thing to happen before we start putting them up, but it should be soon.
What are you waiting to happen?
I really don't want to start until I can print the barcodes directly from the stock page and the item page. No one listening cares about this, but it's basically like a few.
What if we ever talk stuff that's not shop talk, and you're like, fuck it, let's.
Well, think about it this way: it's a few extra steps to copy the code, move it over to the program, print from there, blah blah blah. But copy that across 50,000 times.
No,
it suddenly becomes you're adding a minute to every single thing you have to do, which will.
Well, and the thing is that's just what you're doing at the computer. What I have to do in the back.
Well, what Brock's going to do is once we start getting, when we get it inventorized, I'd be like, all right, Brock, grab the Action Comics box. So we got 1 in the bin. How many extras do we have? 2. Cool. So we have to change that to 1 in the bin, 2 in the overstock button option. And so we'll know what we have in overstock, which is actually really good.
Yeah, that's going to be amazing.
But the overstock's not going to be online.
But when we sell it, we just change one of the overstock to in stock.
Okay.
And just boop, boop, and you just update the stock. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of work, but gonna make that money, gonna sell those comics to those people. It should be good. And again, things like sales will apply to all this stuff. So when we send out our sale coupons for the website, that'll apply to back issues too. So it should be really cool.
You hate me.
No, I love money.
I know you love money, but goddamn, pulling back issues on a sale?
Not pulling back issues on the sale. If the one sells, it sells. So if we have 3 copies in stock, right, and there's 1 in stock and 2 in back stock, the back stock one does not. If we sell that one, it's out of stock. We have to transfer the back stock to in stock for it to show up again.
Oh, okay.
So we were not going to it won't go 1, 2, 3 all gone. No, it'll only have the one on at a time.
No, I'm saying,
think about it this way. It means from the computer system, he's going to be able to say, we need to do a restock of Action because this many are showing none in stock. And
a customer came up the other day because Brock had just gone through a bit of a collection, found a big stack of Justice League, and they were like, hey, we're looking for these issues of Justice League. We didn't have them in the bin. Brock was like, I just put those in the back room. So he grabbed them. Imagine we had our entire inventory like that. Yeah. So it's going to be really good.
It would be great if I had fucking room to walk back there and pull stuff off the shelves.
It's better.
Hopefully, long term, we sell enough more that it makes up room.
Yeah. Brock, we're going to end up being mile high. We're going to have warehouses of comics. You're going to be like, where the fuck is this thing?
That's what I'm telling you. We're one step away from me, just having a consulting company to open up another place.
Getting a whole second store. All right, enough inside baseball. Let's talk about comic book stuff. And there's really only one story to talk about this week, and that, of course, is Vertigo Comics. Imprint of DC Comics. Now, I want to explain it a little bit because I think there's been a pretty big misunderstanding of what's going on. So here is what is happening. Basically, every imprint within DC Comics is going away. Vertigo, Ink, Zoom.
No, I consider it every imprint is being rebranded.
Well, correct.
Kind of.
So the naming is going away, right? Yeah. This is a big misunderstanding, right? So there will be no Vertigo imprint at DC anymore. Ink and Zoom, which were the more all ages stuff, right? Wildstorm is basically has been gone for all intents and purposes for a number of years now. So what is happening is
you're getting rid of Bendis World.
No.
What?
That is a separate deal that they have. So that is outside.
This is bullshit.
That is outside.
Bullshit.
What's this company called? Jinx World.
Jinx World.
That is outside of the DC Comics. Jinx World is a separate thing. Those are like owned by Brian Michael Bendis outside of the normal contracts.
So correct me if I'm wrong, and it's entirely possible I am wrong, but some of the Vertigo stuff wasn't owned by DC.
So all Sandman, Doom Patrol, Shade the Changing Man, Swamp Thing, Hellblazer.
Oh,
right?
I know
all those
those.
Early ones. Those are DC 100% start to stop. Everything else,
Scalped, DMZ,
Preacher, Transmet,
Man.
right? Second Coming, which just left and is getting published by Ahoy Comics, right?
When is that coming out?
Soon, like next month or this July. It's
I don't
really
even
soon.
know if I got it ordered.
Yeah, it's very soon. All of those books, Fables, right?
Yeah.
I was asking around. I believe it's 50-50. When the book goes out of print, the creator is able to take their property away from DC if they want. Heavy Liquid, which is a Paul Pope book, numerous Paul Pope books that were published under Vertigo have been republished other places recently, including Heavy Liquid. Heavy Liquid? Yeah, Heavy Liquid. So that was just republished by Image. It's been out of print from DC for a little while. Second Coming is a case where they're like, we will forego our 50% claim and you can take the book back 100%. So it is owned by the person, but DC still has a 50% claim. I believe it's 50% on the property. So it's split when they do movies and TV shows. Now think about, Image, right? Image has a 0% claim. They take their like 10% or 15% cut or whatever.
They have a publishing claim.
Well, they have they get something, but they don't. And this is why we've seen so little published by Vertigo and so a lot more published by Image and other companies like that is because it's just a better deal, right? But all this aside, every book published by DC Comics, except for Jinx World, every book published by DC Comics is going to be called DC Comics. There are no more imprints. Now there are going to be like Wonder Comics and Young Animal, and those little things will happen, but that's not, again, people misunderstand.
Those are like themed.
It's like pop-up themes.
Themes, yeah.
Right. Those are not imprints within the company. Young Justice, Naomi, these all take place in the DC universe. Doom Patrol, Cave Carson, these all take place in the DC universe. So all of these books, every single book that DC publishes is going to be called DC Comics. Now, what is happening is they have a rating system, right? They've always had this rating system. This is where I think people are getting a little confused. They are changing the name of their rating system to DC Comics or DC Kids, which is going to be all ages to 12.
It's the Zoom stuff.
Well, not necessarily. Again, it could be anything. Any comic.
Ink stuff?
If it's 12 and under, right? It could be a regular DC comic, right? They have DC Kids, which is a rating system. Again, this is not an imprint. This is a rating system. They have DC Comics, which is 13 through 17, and also the vast majority of their comic books. Batman, Superman, Justice League, Green Lantern, Harley Quinn. All this stuff is DC Comics.
Everything in the main.
Yeah, the main line. And all those books that were published under DC Inc., which were the slightly more mature...
it's the young adult
stuff.
Like the high school teens.
That is all going to be... That should all be DC Comics, right? And then we have DC Comics Black Label, which is what they've been publishing right now with Last Night and Batman Damned, which last issue comes out tomorrow, and Superman Year One. And this is 18 plus. Now, what's funny is I haven't read Superman Year One, but people were like, "There's nothing adult about that book." Like, there's, and even Batman Batman Last Night, it's no different than any other Batman book. So I don't think
it's Snyder Capullo Batman. Like,
it's just a normal comic. Yeah. So I don't think these even would be Black Label projects going forward. It's suggested maybe for 18 and over, but it's not adult in any way, shape, or form. So your V for Vendetta, your Watchmen, those will be
Black Label,
all the Vertigo books, right? Since they have mature themes, nudity, swearing,
Fables, Why Last Man,
Hellblazer, right? All that stuff. At some point, I guess, when they reprint them, it'll be DC Black Label. Again, this is not an imprint. This is just an age rating. So it's possible the spines on everything could say DC. I don't even think it's going to say Black Label. I think it's just going to say DC.
Yeah.
I think you have like the what's the Justice League one, the whatever the hell it was, the one that came out, the ink or the Zoom book, the Dear Justice League.
Oh, the Dear Justice League. Yeah, that's the one where the kids send in letters to the Justice League. That's not out yet.
I mean, Dear Justice League should say DC Comics. Batman should say DC Comics.
DC. The one from Justice League should say kids.
Again, no.
Why?
It is not an imprint. It is DC Comics.
No, it'll say DC Comics, but it's you said, the rating
range.
system.
But wait, I'm talking about the spine and on the cover.
All the spines are going to say DC.
It should say DC. If you look right now, and this is funny, we were talking about this earlier, Brock, but I actually looked into this and I asked a friend of mine, and he told me that I said, why don't they just call it DC Vertigo? Right? Why would they get rid of it? Why don't they change a Vertigo to just be DC Vertigo? Do me a favor.
They did.
Go look at that Doom Patrol trade.
I know. It says DC Vertigo.
Apparently, a year ago or so, they did. Vertigo has been called DC Vertigo for the past year, and nobody knew this. I sure as hell didn't know this. So all the trades that have been reprinted have said DC Vertigo on the spine. I believe at this point they are now just all going to say DC, period. Preacher is DC. Sandman is DC. Hellblazer is DC. DC Superhero Girls is DC. Young Justice is DC. It's all DC, period. And it makes sense, right? I mean, look, I love Vertigo. I love the comics. I love the line. They are going to continue to publish creator-owned, adult-focused books that would have fit in the Vertigo mold.
This is, I think,
previously.
the problem with this getting rid of Vertigo, this shakeup of the rating system, whatever you want to call it, is that DC Inc. and DC Zoom were announced last year.
But, and again, this is a question that I saw brought up. What is Inc.? What does that mean?
No, I understand.
What does DC Zoom mean?
No, I understand. I understand the difficulty in what is this? I'm not sure what this is. I don't know what Zoom is. I don't know what Ink is. For the longest time, it took me a while to go, which one's the little one and which one's not.
Well, think of it this way too, right? You're a marketing person, and people are like, "Oh, your show opens up and it says Vertigo." What the fuck is Vertigo? That's not a comic book company. There's no comic book company called Vertigo, all right? You have a thing that says DC Inc. Well, what does that mean? All right. So by everything being called DC,
no, I understand that.
Yeah.
I get that concept that everything is called DC. I get that concept.
Yeah.
The problem that I have is things like Black Label.
Yeah. I think it's a stupid name. I still hate the name.
The things like Black Label that, again, came out last year, was penned as these are going to be stories told of these characters that are a little more mature themed,
and they still are.
Well, that's the thing is they still are, but it was aimed at it's DC characters, Batman, Superman, Green Lantern.
Still is.
But now that it's enveloping Preacher and all of
those trades have been coming out. This is not new. They've been putting out those trades, and that was the problem I had. I was like, but we have Watchmen in print in stock, and there's a Black Label. What does that mean, right? So because it was an imprint, right? Up until this announcement, Black Label was an imprint at DC, and it made no sense. Why would there be a Black Label imprint of Watchmen? Wouldn't that just be Vertigo? Why? So that again, I think you have brand confusion.
Well, the thing is the problem is
as a longtime comic book fan, there was a period of time I had no clue that Vertigo was DC.
I've absolutely had customers come in and I go, yeah, I love Vertigo. They're like, cool, what's that? I was like, it's part of DC. Well, is it a DC comic? Yeah, but it's called Vertigo. Well, I mean, I've had this conversation with customers. Where are your Vertigo comics? In with DC. Why? Because it's part of DC. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I've absolutely had this conversation.
No, like I get that brand, like it's that brand association, like that disconnect. Like Vertigo is not DC.
Yeah.
Like I get that disconnect. I think the
Ink, Zoom, Black Label,
I think,
CMX,
but this is the thing is like I think the problem
Helix.
I think the problem is that
Milestone. Fuck, this
that,
never ends. DC said so many goddamn imprints.
But the thing is like I think the issue is you introduce Black Label, you introduce Zoom, and you introduce Ink, all in the same year.
Yep.
And these are all going like you're like, yeah, these are new lines and blah 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 blah.
All it takes is somebody, just like we've kind of talked about, even in terms of comic writers, to look at this and go, "Why are we making this so complicated?
Yeah.
Why can't we boil this down?"
I understand they want to simplify things, but the fact of the matter is DC can't even simplify their trade goddamn dress.
But that, I believe, is part of this entire focus.
They can't even do it right on DC Comics.
And I believe a lot of this is to unify, not to have a unified trade dress for everything.
You can't unify when you're not doing it properly in the first place.
They don't want to unify the trade dress. They want stuff to stand out.
There's very few. I never hear somebody bitch in like a bookstore that they've redone the cover and the trade dress of a book. It's the same kind of thing. It evolves over time, and they want to make it look fresh and new. And yes, it's frustrating from a collector when they don't continue it through the entire line correctly. But we've also talked about all the general frustration of, and now they've put out another number one that's got a different trade dress there is no publisher out there that does that perfectly.
No, to me, my biggest concern is the next couple of years, people are going to be like Vertigo, blah, blah, blah. But all those books are continuing. DC just put out a fucking massive list at the library convention of all their what would be Ink and Zoom books, and now are books that will be, that are rated DC Kids. They have a shitload coming out, way more than I ever expected.
No, they have a ton coming
out. 30
I can't understand why they would put it.
They have like 40 books that they announced or something stupid. It's ridiculous, right?
No, and the thing is that
so they're continuing those.
They're continuing those, but it's like
and they've said they have plenty more creator-owned books that again would have been published under the Vertigo imprint. They have lots more stuff coming. Books that would have been published under the Black Label imprint, they have lots more of those coming. Stuff like Harleen. I don't know. This is all supposed to take place by the end of the year. So we're still going to get books that say Black Label, Vertigo, Ink, and Zoom.
And the thing is like for me, it's I'm just at this point in time with just the frustration with at least DC's trades.
Yeah,
and their graphic novel department.
Oh, I hear you.
Past,
I hear you.
God, at least 3 years.
I hear you.
It's
so as we know, there was a major shakeup. AT&T did a lot of stuff, and I feel like we are just getting out of the shakeup because they've solicited basically their equivalent of Epic collections, both on hard and soft cover, the last month or two. They have a shitload of omnibuses in the most recent previews. Stuff like Jonah Hex and Aquaman and stuff I'm really surprised is coming out. All those other things that were canceled, again, I believe will come out in some fashion down the road.
Are you sure we're going to get that Absolute Day Tripper?
That one, no. That is a cursed book.
Fucking
okay?
A.
Fourth time's not going to be the charm.
Dude,
that will also be canceled.
I'm still putting in an order for it.
So
I'm just hoping Ryan doesn't end up with 6 of them just from your various orders.
Well, no, it'll be Diamond screws up and didn't ever actually cancel them, and so you end up getting all 6 of these orders, and 4 of them are for me.
So I think in the next couple months, we'll start to see the DC stuff kind of shake out, and into early next year, losing the Vertigo branding and Ink and Zoom and all that. So it'll be curious to see if when a comic says DC Comics, maybe it'll sell better. I don't know, right? If something, the Sandman Universe books, they've already said are continuing a second year. Neil Gaiman already confirmed that. So those books aren't. I could see maybe a couple of them ending and new ones coming in, but they're going to continue the Sandman Universe line. So these little subset, like you said, headers are still going to happen. It's just not going to be called Vertigo.
No offense, but Sandman's always going to be a Vertigo book to me, even though it started out like.
Yeah, of course.
It'll always be a Vertigo book, whether or not they brand it DC or Black Label or whatever the hell they want to do.
Yeah,
to me, it's a Vertigo book.
Sure.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm curious to see what they go with, just because we talked about how they canceled a bunch of stuff because they still had copies that could be shipped out, and it makes sense to reprint them. I'm curious if this rebranding will change that, if they'll try to clearance out some of what they currently have to do.
Well, I know.
Volume.
So the new Watchmen release is
the Black Label release.
I mean, at this point, they're up to their 50th or 60th printing of Watchmen or something like that, and it is. Yeah, it's right. It's Black Label, right? But this is this is new because they have the end of their stock and they're getting ready for a new printing. So it's going to be this new edition, right? Which is totally understandable, which is totally fine. It is frustrating when you have something like Batman, where you have 8 or 9 volumes or 7 or 8 volumes that are the same trade dress, and suddenly 9 and 10 look different. Like, it is kind of weird.
Well, I'm more curious, and I'm trying to think of a good example and failing, but Watchmen's actually a decent example. If they had just done a printing of Watchmen with the old sort of trade dress around it, I'm curious, especially going into like the Watchmen TV show, what they would have done to try and get that brand strength.
There'll be like a movie cover version or a TV version or something. But this Black Label, I'm sure, version of Watchmen, I'm sure is scheduled to come out right at the same time as the show.
I just can't wait to tell people they can't drink it.
What's that?
Black Label.
Vertigo? Oh. Yeah, I don't love the name. Trust me. I think they should have just tripled down on the DC Vertigo brand, and so as a rating system. But maybe they can't. Maybe because people will be like, wait a minute, a Batman comic under Vertigo? Huh? Because you would never get the imprint Vertigo out of your head. So they have to call it something different. I just think Black Label is a dumb name. I don't know what I would have called it, but
that's
Batwing.
Yeah.
The way I kind of look at this is I understand what they're trying to invoke with sort of Black Label. It's sort of like the top shelf. It's supposed to be the best of the best, as it were. I agree. Black Label is not necessarily the best name for that, but when you go to like, well, you can't call it DC Top Shelf. There's already a publisher.
Yeah. And
it's really just a mix up of a rating system and line identities.
Yeah,
but
not a line identity.
The tricky part of a rating system is you have to have it clear, and like the amount of parents that we've helped in the store with the rating system on like the barcodes and that kind of stuff is never clear unless you.
Well, and so this is something that I see a lot
like
in
Marvel Max. I loved because it was clear. You knew exactly what you were getting.
A lot of people were like, kids don't want to read books to say kids on it. No one's going to read this. And I said, this is not for the kids. This is for the parents that are actually buying the book. If I give parents a book, this is DC Kids, the parents are going to be like, cool, perfect, that's fine.
Yeah.
Right. I had some parents in here on Monday, and they're like, yeah, our daughter watches Walking Dead and Deadly Class and Arrow.
How old is she?
And she was like 13 or something like that. And they bought her Saga Volume 1 and Monstrous and Isola. And I showed it to them, and I said, you guys are the cool parents. Trust me. I've had like people that are like 16 and 17-year-olds coming in here, and their parents wouldn't buy them this stuff. Like, I'm like, you guys are the awesome parents, and they're like, yeah, whatever. She's fine. She watches all this stuff and loves it. I'm like, cool, but you're going to have parents that are coming and be like, my precious angel, I have to give him a baby book. So here's DC Kids, right?
So one of the biggest things, the difficult part that we have is a lot of parents are used to the Scholastic model.
Yeah.
Which
and that's what DC Kids model.
Well, and that's the thing. Scholastic boomed.
Yeah.
This year.
Yep. Last couple of years.
In like especially in the graphic novel like area. And the thing is
for the record, booms are good until they're not. I am playing it cautious. We have expanded our kids section dramatically, don't get me wrong, but I am hitting my wall and I am like, cool, let's see, because I'm not seeing the traction on some of these books that some other stores are. That's great for those stores, not for us. So I'm trying to be like, all right, let's find that nice middle ground here. Right?
But the thing is a lot of these parents go to the book, their kids go to the book fair, they go to the book fair with their kids at their local schools.
Yeah.
Scholastic has this age range, reading level this. So the parents know, like, oh, this is what's good for my kid, or I need this to challenge my kid's reading ability. And so that's what they're being ingrained in. So when they're transferring over to a comic book store, it's difficult for us to say, we can gauge it because we know the product, but not having that easy way to point to them to say, like, having the whole kids thing, that's fine. You can label it kids, whatever, right? But having on the back just a general age range, like just a little age range description in the bottom corner next to the barcode or something, like that would hugely increase the sales of these things.
Well, Marvel has like teen plus. What the hell does teen plus mean? Like, what the hell does that mean? Does teen mean 13? Does teen mean 17? Teen plus, what is that? 18, like 19 and up? 18, 19 now. So it's really weird. We'll as these trade dresses start to change and the Vertigo name is really kind of going away, we'll sure we'll have some more info on this.
I mean, we'll see.
We're gonna get some questions.
Questions.
I'm gonna actually start at the end because I know some of these came in a little late, but I want to get to these. This is the Wild Hunt on Twitter says, what's your favorite Spider-Man
or Spider-Men?
Spider-Men alternative media, not comic books. He said Tobey Maguire and the 90s cartoon Spider-Man are tied for first. Wild Hunt, I wonder if you were very mad that 4 countdown was not a tease for Spider-Man 4, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man 4. You probably were. What's your favorite Spider-Man outside of comic books? I got some love for the 90s cartoon Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I like that show quite a bit. I know if Toby was here, he would say the Spectacular. Yeah, that never did anything for me, but I like the 90s one. I'm definitely a big fan of the current the game, the Sony Spider-Man game.
All the Spider-Man games have been good.
Yeah.
I've liked all of those.
So, yes, I mean, I like Andrew Garfield. Jesus Christ. Well, I don't hate Andrew Garfield. I just hate the movies. I actually like Tom Holland quite a bit. I think he does really good. I know we're going to be recording Spider-Man Homecoming comes out next week on Tuesday, Monday night. Tuesday is like the full release. So we're going to record. I'm going to immediately go see Spider-Man. So our Spider-Man episode won't be till the following week. Should be like the 9th, I think. But we'll have lots of Homecoming talk. Homecoming? Far From Home. Lots of far From Home talk. In 2 weeks, I believe. This is from one of my buddies. Let's Talk New Warriors on Twitter at New Warriors Talk. It's an account all about New Warriors.
Just these people are just like, the only way I'm going to get read is if I draw attention.
But Charlie, this isn't even our question, but I'm going to answer him here because this is something we added. We had posted a picture of the Heroes Reborn omnibus earlier, and we were talking about this, and I tweeted it out too that the Heroes Reborn omnibus collects all 12 issues of Captain America, Avengers, Fantastic Four, and Iron Man. This is when Rob Liefeld, Jim Lee, Jeff Loeb, and a bunch of other people took over the the Marvel Comics, and published them under like almost like an image imprint. I mean, they were published by Marvel, but
they were trying to.
Basically wooed back a bunch of the Image guys.
It's all the Wildstorm guys and some of the main Image guys. And they came back to do 12 issues of these books.
And the thing is this was their first real renumbering.
Yeah, it was, right. And for
this is where the fall started.
Cap Avengers, FF, and Iron Man. Now the Heroes Reborn stuff, Heroes Return, the stuff that followed this was awesome. This stuff I'm not that big of a fan of, but
I like it.
Enough to buy an omnibus of it.
I mean, so to me, this is their first kind of play around with the idea of like the ultimate line. It was let's go to these creators who can put a new spin on these characters and their origins and all that.
But let's go back to the creators that made us money and left, is basically what this was.
Yeah.
But we brought this up. It collects issues 1 through 12. These are all 13-issue runs.
Yep.
The reason is because the issue 13s of all the series was a crossover with Wildstorm, which is now owned by DC Comics. So it is not surprising that issue 13 is not collected in the omnibus, which is unfortunate.
I'm just annoyed that the Heroes Return miniseries was not in
the follow-up. Yeah,
because I don't know where else you would put that omnibus-wise.
Yeah, I don't. That's it, right? That's
I think there's nowhere else you could put it.
You get a trade of it.
Well, I already have a trade of it. Thank you, Brock.
I know you hate it, but
this is from Tor, T-O-R-E, Tor. Spoilers for comics from last week, so a little heads up. Although whatever, I mean, I didn't hear anyone talking about this, so I don't think anyone cares. So Mera is now pregnant with Aquaman's baby.
Yeah,
try this again. Do you think DeConnick can salvage her Aquaman run and turn things around? Well, I would hope so. It's not been good, but as long as we're getting away from whatever the fuck this last arc has been, and actually, a book with Aquaman in it.
So the whole thing with the island and the gods and him losing his memory is bad. Now the last 2 issues or so where he's kind of meeting Mother Shark.
I just sped right him, and I was like, "Is he Aquaman again?" Okay, no, that's fine. And I didn't realize
it's like he's getting his memory back, right? I'm like, okay. This last issue was like, all right, he's getting his memory back, but his relationship with Mera doesn't feel like.
Next issue should go back to.
Well, no, like their banter in it does not feel like their normal banter, and it's like.
Well, next issue is going to be quote unquote normal Aquaman again, and if it's bad, I'm super concerned. And that's issue 52. So,
I'm like, issue 50 might be my last.
Well, we're gonna get an arc with Black Manta here in this part of the Year of the Villain.
This is me giving 2 shits. If it's Kelly Sue DeConnick, I mean, she is not learning at any level that Vendetti was learning on Green Lantern. At least with Green Lantern, Vendetti's Green Lantern, there was an upward mobility.
Yeah.
With DeConnick's run on Aquaman, it's just it's her as a person. It's just the story-wise, it's just not there.
Yeah, no, it's been terrible. But he also says, how hard is Black Manta with the thought of killing another Aqua baby? As far as I know, none of that's a continuity anymore. I don't think so, at least.
It's part of the metaverse. It's all
well, sure, of course. But yeah, so I don't think Black Manta's... I don't think Mera's had a kid with Aquaman. So yeah, Aqua baby got killed by Black Manta many, many years ago. And
wasn't that Aqualad's kid?
No, Aquaman and Mera. They had a kid, and then Black Manta killed him.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Then we just forgot about it. Well, now we're doing it again.
The crisis happened, so. Let's see. Pete says, with all the Keanu joining the MCU speculation this past week, what's the gang's dream character casting for Mr. Wick? Keanu Reeves, the MCU's calling him. Moon Knight's okay. I saw that. Dan Slop posted that.
Moon Knight, it's Moon Knight with the amount of characters Keanu Reeves has played in his career. He's virtually played almost every single personification that becomes Moon Knight. Matt Spector, Mark Spector,
he's just a weird dude.
Yeah,
like Keanu Reeves. So Moon Knight really is a great role for him.
Yeah.
I don't see I saw someone say Mr. Fantastic, and I was like, well, I don't see that at all.
No, but I mean, I heard some speculation around the Eternals, since that's
so nobody, random nobody.
Yeah, but
who the fuck's an Eternal?
I could
Cersei.
So I agree that there's not really anybody super well known in the Eternals, but the Eternals are all a little weird.
Yeah,
Johnny Blaze.
I know. The entire Eternals cast is just going to be Keanu Reeves.
Johnny Blaze? Johnny or Danny? Like, one of the two.
No, it'd be Johnny. Okay. I could see it be Ghost Rider. I think he'd do good with that. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, fuck. Between him and
Nicolas Cage,
they're both fucking weirdos, so.
I mean, do you see him playing any good villains?
I don't know. Maybe.
Could he do Mandarin?
That'd be weird.
So, as much as I would
be Asian Mandarin,
I mean, it'd be better
game
than
for him.
Ben Kingsley
doing a villain. I'm guessing it's not going to be a single movie deal, and I don't know what villain you would kind of move into the Loki role of sort of the villain that sticks around.
Yeah. But is Keanu Reeves going to want to do like 15 movies? No.
Well, he's up for John Wick 4, so...
Yeah, that's true. I just watched John Wick for the first time, the first movie.
Oh, when did you see this?
I saw it over the weekend.
It's fucking good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Hard Boiled and Killer to me are still my high watermarks for like action kung fu or action gunplay movies. Those I can't imagine ever being beat. But John Wick was pretty good. So I want to see the second and third one. There's a couple scenes in there where you're like, oh, that looks like it hurts really bad.
Next question.
Ulysses says, how come DC Comics hasn't released too many of the Batman Noir books? Like Batman Dark Knight 3 Noir or New 52 Noir, etc. So DC has released a number of these Batman Noir hardcovers where they take the original material and they put it out just in like the pencils and inks, right? So it's all black and white. I would assume they haven't done more because I don't think they've sold. I got a couple of them here. We never sold them.
Yeah, it's the Noir books are really, really. I mean,
they're targeting a niche collector's market that.
The unwrapped ones sold better, didn't they?
Yeah.
The one like the Jim Lee unwrapped ones, or were those about the same?
Maybe. It's all the same. Yeah. It's from product of Storm and Logan. I know his ship. Whatever happened to Marvel AR? I mean, AR happened.
You mean VR happened?
Everyone has dropped AR on everything. I just can't remember. I just can't think of anyone that's doing AR.
The augmented reality stuff.
Not with this type of
like I get Pokemon Go and the Harry Potter thing. That's AR, but that's different. That's a game.
And yes, I agree that's different. Yes, I agree that trying to work AR into the books. Doesn't really work well, and I totally understand why it went away.
Yeah.
That being said, I've played around with some interesting glasses and stuff where they've built like AR experiences at like conventions and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And if the technology gets there, I could see there being a resurgence, not necessarily like with the books, but with other stuff.
Yeah.
I think the biggest problem with the AR stuff was they were trying to aim it at the single issue market when it should have been something more along like the graphic novels and stuff. Like because when you get a graphic novel, you read the introduction or you read you read the extra stuff or you look at the extra script notes that they have at the end or the sketches and at the back. Like so having augmented reality in that I can understand, but a random issue of some Avengers book, I'm like, look how I colored this skyline.
I'm going to assume Marvel sold exactly 0 extra copies because of it. Therefore, why do it?
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Sorry to everybody that worked in that department.
From Vic says, who will watch Endgame with a post-credit footage? Charlie.
Me.
When do tickets go on sale tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
At least with AMC, they
I want to see it again and see what's a post-credit scene.
I don't have my kids this weekend, so...
There you go.
So I was already planning to go re-see it because I have a friend who hasn't seen it yet. So I kept telling him, when you go see it, let me know. And then they announced this. I'm like, this is perfect. That means when we go see it, it will be back in the good theaters and not the ones shoved in the back where...
Yeah, the small theaters, As from Jesse, says, since we are patiently waiting the end of Doomsday Clock, what are some of your favorite Jeff Johns books? I mean, haven't we talked about every single thing he's ever done on this podcast? every single thing that he's done is the greatest book he's ever done because Jeff Johns did it.
I mean,
go buy his Flash books. There's like 5 volumes out now. I think that's all of it. Maybe one more coming. His Flash
stuff's great.
So
his 52 Aquaman is really solid.
Yeah.
His Booster Gold is
out of print.
It's out of print, but you can still get it digitally.
Justice Society only omnibus.
You can get it digitally for a little bit.
For a little bit
give
longer.
Us a cut.
Yeah, a little bit longer.
I love his JSA run.
Only available in the big omnibus.
This is a trade dress crime against humanity. So they did the Johns like hard like omnibuses for the JSA stuff. I'm like, okay, I didn't get them because I haven't read it. I mean, yes, it's Johns, but like I didn't even get the Flash John stuff because they screwed up so badly on those.
Yeah.
The trade dress on the JSA, one is completely white. The next one's completely black. It looks like 2 completely different volumes.
Yeah.
And it's the same series. And I'm like, really?
They're just weird looking.
So my pitch for why I like the JSA run as much as I do is... Yes, I got to it after I got started on Green Lantern. Green Lantern and all the other stuff is great too. But I felt like the JSA book was a love letter to continuity.
Yeah.
Like that was John's throwing out all the rules that existed when that book started coming out.
Well, hold on. Are we talking about the early stuff or are we talking about when he renumber and then on?
I'm talking his entire run.
His entire run on JSA?
Because... it would suddenly start touching on like 0 hour stuff and it would touch on crisis stuff and like all these things that were kind of like the shall not be named or touched. Like all of those got pulled into like the JSA run and the legacy and like, I felt like that was
Stars and Stripes. Was that good?
It was pretty good for like what it was. Like it's not my favorite of his work, but yeah.
His Teen Titans is pretty good too.
Oh yeah. His Titans is great.
Everything's good.
Yeah.
It's from Jackie. He says, y'all tried that DC Comics ice cream?
Wait. Can you just...
Yes, I have.
Stop. Hold on. Can you repeat the first part of that question?
Well, technically he says y'all's, Y-A-L-L-Z. Y'all's tried that DC Comics ice cream?
Thank you.
Shit is bomb, yo. I'm joking, by the way. Actually, some of the worst ice cream I've ate, and I regret the $5 I spent to buy some. There's a Harley Quinn... cherry chocolate diamond days ice cream.
I haven't tried that one. I've tried the Batman one. The Batman one's okay.
People have tweeted out to me
Joker mint cookie madness,
the Harley one, and I'm like, that's great. I'm vegan.
Yeah. I have not tried this. Maybe I'll try it. There's no such bad ice cream. Tyler Willits.
There's bad ice cream.
Tyler Willits. He's asking a serious question here that I've had to...
Is it about a She-Hulk statue?
Shut up. No,
I have to do it every time.
Tyler says, how brutal do you get when you cut a comic from your pull list? Do you give it a couple issues or a hack and slash type of person?
I never do it when I should. And it's never because like I don't necessarily think it's always I end up with so many issues I haven't read that I just go like I can't keep buying this when I'm not reading it.
Yeah. When I cut, I generally will get rid of the entire run if it's been like a creative team switch or something like that. So on books like Action Detective, I can't imagine I would ever drop it because it's unlikely that any creative team I hate would be on it for that long.
Those Johns and Romita Juniors were rough.
Yeah, Batgirl was a case, right, where when they switched over to the Burnside Batgirl, I gave it like 3 or 4 issues, and I was just like, nope, Gail Simone run ends this arc, and I will buy Batgirl again when she's the real character someday. I tried like
just get a Batgirl omnibus with Gail Simone.
I gave like Lucifer like 7 issues.
I have no idea
the new
how you
series,
got that far.
And I was just like, and I am done. I'll come back to the store. House of Whispers, I gave 1. Nope, done.
I think it really just varies on the impression that issue 1 gives you, or how desperate you are to really want to read about the characters.
Plastic Man.
That was
the Gail Simone Plastic Man.
That was a rough 6 issues.
I read the first issue and went, wow, that was terrible. But it's Gail Simone on Plastic Man. I must be wrong. I read the second issue and went, wow, that was terrible. But it's Gail Simone on Plastic Man. I must be wrong still. Then I read the third issue and I'm like, nope, it's just really bad. And I just stopped.
I didn't. I was like, I'll get the thing and then sell it.
No, once I'm done, I'm done. It's stop.
The best one, and this is one I cut, I think, even before you, was Female Furies. That book was...
One was atrocious on a level. One, I think, is the worst comic I've read this year. And I said, but man, do I love the Furies. Man, do I love Barda. Oh, that covers are so good. I will try one more. Nope, that's as far as I got. I couldn't do it.
You gave it 3 issues.
I think I bought the third one because I forgot to cancel it, but I did not read it.
Because I got the first one and the second one and said, I'm done.
I finished 2, after 2. That easily was...
this is so bad.
Female Furies #1 is easily the worst comic book I've read this year. By no stretch of the imagination. Easily the worst comic I've read. Like, House of Whispers, I just was not into at all.
Well, like,
Female Furies is fucking terrible.
Like, Lucifer, I read... Like, I think Lucifer I read... It just didn't...
I didn't get it.
Do anything. Like, it was just...
It was just...
like,
Lucifer...
Female Furies was just legitimately
so
bad.
Like Aquaman. Aquaman's just nothing. Right?
Well,
it's not
the thing is like
bad.
You get to a point where, like, I was reading the Bombshells, and like I got through like the early first few arcs were okay, they weren't bad, but then they started to go in this just kind of off the rails a little bit. Arc got a little inside of it, but I was just so committed to it. I was like,
I'm reading New 52 Earth 2 right now. The final arc.
Oh, Society.
I'm just like, what the hell am I reading? What is even going on in this book?
Earth 2 is really good.
The first series was great.
Earth 2 Society is just...
And now that Jorge Jimenez? Because that's doing Justice League now.
Yeah.
Beautiful art. But the story, I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Who? Huh? What? Did I miss something?
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's really bad.
I think it varies and depends on longevity of the title and how long you've been on it.
Yeah.
Again, creative team shift can change. But like Supergirl, I tried Supergirl at the beginning of the Rebirth run.
Yeah.
And I was like, like I just didn't care for it.
I like Supergirl.
Well, no, like the beginning.
Yeah.
I just didn't care for it. Like even with New 52, I was not like on board with the Supergirl
New 52
stuff.
was bad.
But Mark Andrenko was going to be taking over creative writing or creative like writing duties. I was like, I'll try it.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, brr. So I don't have #1 of this one. I have issue like 21. So.
All right, gonna hit up a couple of these real quick. Scott says, how do you handle ordering True Believer #1 books compared to normal comics? It depends on what it is. Some I order 10, some order none, some order 500. You know, just really depends. Yeah. Oh, we've gone through hundreds and hundreds of copies of things like Amazing Fantasy 1.
Solicitations this month for DC.
All me.
All Ryan Higgins, baby.
All me. You can. As for me harassing DC for years,
you need to take a picture of just that page and say,
I did this.
I did this. Me, yeah.
Super excited to see the DC ones.
Well, they're doing. So the first one they're doing is Batwoman.
Yeah, it's Batman 608, which is the first issue of Hush.
Yeah.
The detective. Whatever
the first detective issue of
Batwoman
was.
It's like 854?
Because her first appearance was in 52.
Yeah. I think it's 854. They're doing the Harley one from New 52, and they're doing Crisis on Infinite Earths #1.
Yeah.
Those are the first dollar books they're doing.
And how many are you ordering?
I'll get quite a few of those. 25 to 50 each or something like that. Maybe more on the probably more on the Hush because it's a rare cover that they're publishing. It's one of like the retailer incentive covers that they're using for the.
Like I'll probably pick up a Harley and a Hush just because.
Yeah, and fourth spinner rack, Charlie. We need that fourth spinner rack.
I remember when there was a day where we were like, "What the fuck are we going to do with this one spinner rack?" And now it's like
4 spinner racks, baby.
Now it's like just spinner racks.
The whole
everywhere.
store is going to be spinner racks. Just spin from rack to rack around the entire store.
Shit. No.
All right, Jack. What's the average monthly buy and spend for your regular customers? I budget for 15 to 20 floppies a month, and I've always wondered how that compares to other customers at my LCS. I mean, we have a couple customers that get 1 book a month. We have a lot of customers that get 5 to 10 a month, maybe 5 to 10 to 15 a month. We have a lot of customers that get 10 to 15 a week. We have more than a handful of customers that get 20 to 30 a week. We have a handful of customers that get 50 to 100 a week. Floppies, single issues a week. It's. I'd say 20 a month is probably
a good average.
That's probably an average.
Yeah.
I think
that's a good average.
You have a lot of people that get a few.
I've tracked. So doing my pull list has given me the ability to kind of track what I get. And granted, I'm buying a little bit. I buy a little bit more because I'm also getting some of the variants.
Yeah.
But in general, like my numbers when I first came back, I was getting like 20 to like 25 books, sometimes 30 a week.
Yeah.
When I came back, now it's like 10, 13. Just depends on if Image and Valiant decides to finally release something.
I'm around 8 to 12 a week, I think, is like my take home. I mean, I read 50, but
like singles, but like adding on the variant covers, I add on maybe 5 more comics.
Yeah, there have been plenty of weeks where I've walked out of here with, 4 books, and there's been weeks where I walked out of here with 40 books.
Yeah.
So it happens. Charlie's
That's okay. I'm only at like 3 a month or something.
Yeah.
Charlie gets this stuff.
But you buy hardcovers. You buy them in omnibus form. So, yeah. No, I still buy a lot of single issues, but my collecting is pretty limited to the mainstream DC stuff these days, and whatever Ed Brubaker does. That's about it. I don't get much else.
I get a handful of Image titles. I get a fair amount of Valiant titles.
Yeah, you get Image of Valiant, and you get a lot of indie stuff. I just read and trade. I have no time for single.
Yeah,
indie singles.
For me, it's one of those things where Valiant, I think, is the one that I consistently. There's some titles I'm like, I just don't give a rat's ass about this. Yeah. But there's some titles and for the most part, I think I like Valiant's line because their continuity is like they have a good continuity. Like it's a good universe to kind of break into to kind of just get exposed to superheroes.
Yeah.
But Image, I mean, I'm not getting like new stuff as much as I'm like I don't have too many new Image titles. For an Image title to get on my pull list is difficult. And I'm going to be dropping. One's going to fall off soon, which is Outcast. Yeah, because he's going to finish that up. Saga's been off of it since been on hiatus. Southern Bastards doesn't know if it's going to end ever. Manifest Destiny comes out
when it comes
out.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that seems to be like all of Image now.
So,
okay, we got 2 more questions and we'll wrap up.
3 if you don't pick one.
I got
3 if you don't get one of them. Keep going.
I got one from Leonardo. He says, "Does Brock have any funny stories from his bouncer days?" Let's move away from comics here. Brock.
Yeah.
You were a bouncer for a number of years.
I was a bouncer for 8 years.
How'd that go?
It went.
Yeah.
I bounced from about age 21 to 29.
Okay.
I mean, crazy story. I mean, it's just the general crazy stories of just people getting drunk and obnoxious and puking their guts out.
Yeah.
And, taking people down and rubbing their face in the concrete, and the cops going, "Oh, look, it's just road rest from being taken down," so you can be a little extra rough with people. Some of the craziest stuff I did I saw as a bouncer was probably when I was a bouncer for a stripper, because I did that for a little bit.
Oh my god!
Oh, yeah,
I totally forgot about that. Yeah, wow. I do remember that.
Like that was
a long time ago. Yeah, holy shit!
That was talk about like going into an environment you have no idea of, and just. I mean, it was like just from the limited time that I did it. You would go into a party that was like a bunch of like just like 4 dudes in this house that like looked like it was not even furnished by a human being. It was like garbage and some furniture. Or you'd go into
just like bachelor party stuff.
Not even bachelor level. Like it's
random.
It's like when and this is it's a dated reference, but it's when Chandler and Joey got robbed and their shit, they didn't have, they had random
No, I mean, are these like bachelor parties and stuff?
Yeah, they're like, well, it's like, it's either a bachelor party or some guys just wanted to order a stripper.
Yeah.
I remember one party was a family, and there was literally like 60 people like trying to cram in this living room, and like from 18-year-olds to like old people.
What?
Yeah, it was the weirdest fucking shit. It was like a birthday party thing. Like, it's
all right. Whatever floats your boat, I guess.
Fucking like people are just I don't know. It's just so weird. But yeah, it was not. I mean, I knew the girl. I met the girl that I bounced for through the nightclub industry. She used to work at a nightclub that I worked at, and then she ended up going into the stripping thing. And I'm like, all right, well, I mean, it was decent money, but it was also like shitty money.
Yeah.
Right? So, but yeah, like anything like crazy.
Like, I mean, you've told me you're throwing people out, but you never got like any massive fights or anything.
No, there was
that.
nothing. Oh, okay. So probably one of the craziest things that ever happened was we have a radio station in the Bay Area called Wild 94.9. You don't listen to this radio station, but you know of this radio station. And they do their Wild 94.9 summer thing. Like, it's a theme that they have for the summertime. Mm-hmm. And normally they have a concert. Like, they were like in the like 2000s, they were doing this concert series where it was $9.49 to go to a concert or a show. Do you remember the artist called Chingy?
I do not.
So there was this rap artist named Chingy.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
I think the best part's the name of the artist, right?
Yeah.
I can't remember what song he did. It was a popular song. And so he was to perform at this club I was working at called the Backbeat. Now, Backbeat used to be Bullwinkle's around here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was always weird when I worked there because I was like, this is supposed to be a fountain. And there was like arcade games over here. And, well, $9.49 brings out a lot of fucking idiots.
Yeah.
And so we ended up having to, we had a line literally that went around the building. And this is a fairly huge building. More people in the parking lot, like tons of stuff going on. We had to actually shut the doors because there was just so many people. When Chingy finally arrived, he saw the amount of people outside and was when we got him into the building. He was actually too scared to go on stage because the amount of people that were outside and the amount of people that were inside. San Jose police were called on top of the Santa Clara police that were already there. And we got Sunnyvale PD and there was a helicopter.
Nice.
So, yeah, I remember just dealing with a sea of people. And I think he finally got on stage and he performed like 2 songs and then he like got off stage and it was just the worst.
People so mad.
And people were just getting all furious and crazy and stuff. But yeah, I think in my life, I think that's the one time I've been like, yeah, I might get trampled to death. Yeah, just it was the worst.
Fun times.
It was the worst. Another best thing I think about that came out of my bouncing days was I met some really cool guys that I consider my brothers, and we still talk occasionally and stuff like that. And yeah, I was never what you call an enforcer.
Yeah,
because I was always good with fake IDs and shit like that. So yeah, I just snatched that shit up and oh what. Probably the funniest place I worked was a place called Beavers. Not a strip club.
Yeah. We have one final question here before we wrap up.
And no, it wasn't any Chuck Norris stuff. Sorry, West Coast chapter of Brock Seger Fan Club.
This is Julian Titus. This is the question I meant to read last week. This is a few episodes back. Ryan said he didn't think they could do a comic-accurate version of the Mandarin in the MCU. Do you guys see the MCU staying grounded, or will the success of Ant-Man, Guardians, and Endgame allow them to lean into the source material more? I feel like the movies have embraced the comic bookiness more. Look at how Doctor Strange just did Kung Fu in his movie, but was a full fucking wizard in Infinity War. I also think that if they made the Dark World now, it would have been a more traditional take on Malekith, other than whatever the hell that was. Maybe. I could see that. Yeah, they're definitely, a little bit more willing to go crazy. I think Spider-Man has kind of proven that. I think Infinity War and Endgame have, Thanos would have been very different had he been in Avengers 1 than now.
I think what we're seeing in comic book movies is a more closer to the source material, more like the essence is more there for the source material. Like take Aquaman, with the amount of stuff that they shoved into Aquaman that came from the comics, and still was such a success.
Yep.
I think that you do have that ability to have fun and play with those big scenes and just kind of some of those crazy ideas and stuff like that. So, do I want them to do a movie accurate Mandarin in
comic accurate? They won't.
Sorry, accurate.
They will not do a kind of Fu Manchu old school style Mandarin. They just will not flat up. But they don't do that in the comics anymore, so that's understandable. But I think there's a nice middle ground that they can do with that character. I think he's again, the old version's maybe not the best character, but it's a cool idea that they could do something good with.
Yeah.
So that is it. Thank you, Julian.
We don't have an email from question 10 years ago or something?
Probably, so that's all right. Next week. There's always next week. We are going to wrap up now. Before we do, let me thank our good friends on Patreon. It's patreon.com/comicconspiracy.
Where if you've been buying digital comics from us in August, just at least $1 a month. Come on.
if you've been buying digital and not Patreon, maybe just kick us a few bucks on Patreon. That always helps too. Julian Titus, who just asked us a great question, of course, you can find more from him at Nerds of All Pants podcast at pixelbit.com. And Jody Lawson has Canon, the Triad Comics Anthology at triadcomicstudios.com. Sam Che, Joe Duff, Craig Anderson over at craigpanderson.com. He helps professional people
life coach
be more professional. It's a tough world out there, man, and Craig Anderson can help you. Andrew Nelson Mendez at Recovery of an Anime Junkie podcast. If you're into anime, you should check that out. Page Turner is a comic book podcast. That's at pageturnerspodcast.libsyn.com. Tyler Willits has Thursday Thunderdome at ThursdayTDome and ThursdayThunderdome.com. You can find all his episodes there. And Ryan Marling does a Pokemon unboxing videos on YouTube. That's over at TinyCC /Ornery Duke. Sorry, tiny.cc.
He hasn't gotten enough subscribers yet.
Ornery Duke. Well, you have to get a couple hundred, I think, right? So
I think it's just 100.
Is it 100? Yeah, I haven't checked. He hasn't updated me. So why don't you go subscribe to him and you can get a good custom YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. Those Pokemon unboxing videos. Everyone loves unboxing videos, man. Comic Conspiracy Podcast.
No, I'm feeling the pressure.
.com, geekbox.net, and iTunes, where you can find all our previous episodes. Rate and review us as well. That always helps. And if you go over to youtube.com/comicsconspiracy, you can find all our episodes posted on there as well. Just the audio, but you could still
have you looked at the statistics on those?
Yeah, people watch them. Yeah. Or listen to them, I should say. The Comic Conspiracy at geekbox.net for long-form questions. You can send them there. And patreon.com/comic-conspiracy is where you can go to kick us a couple bucks if you want to help support this episode. For the time being, digital.comicsconspiracy.biz. That's our digital storefront. You can still go there. Redirects to our ComiXology storefront. And I got about 2 months left. So please,
those sales, take advantage.
Yep, throw some support our way if you can. And of course, physical comics and everything available over at comicsconspiracy.biz. B-I-Z. Brock, you've got spiritofbrock.com. Unboxing videos, pull lists.
I just put up
other stuff.
Yeah, I just put up the Poison Ivy sepia tone bombshell.
Like a Supergirl statue in this week.
I know, Supergirl coming up.
Charlie got Wanderers in the Fourth Dimension podcast. It's all about Doctor Who.
Yeah.
What are you doing now? What are you doing these days?
We're on the 11th Doctor. We've already finished the first season of him. We're more than halfway through the second season.
Excellent.
And keep in mind, we started the podcast on Capaldi.
Yeah.
We literally only have like a season and a half left and 2 specials.
What are you going to do? Other books?
We talked about continuing with some of like the Big Finish stuff, but not in like long form like we're doing now.
Yeah.
So
you guys be like, and now we're done. Podcast is over until the next episode.
We might do something like that. We've also talked about doing a Wanderers in something else.
Oh, nice.
Wanderers in the 6th dimension?
Etsy.com/shop/Leanne Hill Art. That is my wife Etsy's store. You can go check out her art there.
What tarot card she put up now?
She's working on some Haunted Mansion tarot card art. It's not like in the shape of a tarot card, but it's like tarot card inspired art. So yeah, she's
for the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, based on Haunted Mansion.
She has that thing coming up soon, right?
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about this now as far as I know. That maybe we mentioned next week. She's going to have art at the D23 convention in Anaheim in mid-August. Mm-hmm. So she was a finalist in the Haunted Mansion art contest. So she's going to have some of her art at this contest, or at the D23 convention. So that's super exciting. We're going to go down and see it. So I'm really, really proud of her. Really happy she got in there. Mm-hmm. If we're on Twitter... Sorry, if you're on Twitter, we're also on Twitter. You could follow us. Ryan Higgins Ryan, that is myself. Brock is Brock Sager. Charlie is Insanity in Chaos. The store is Comics Con Store. Please give us a follow.
Hell, even our bags and boards have a Twitter.
Yeah, Lane's going to update that one day. So Geekbox, Comedy Button, Manga Machinations, and Infinite Binge. Those are the other podcasts little friends do. You can follow all of those as well. Go Google them. You know how to find that stuff. All right, we'll catch. Wow, that's google.com. We will be back next week for a new episode. Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next time.